Hello, this is Jeff Morgan. You are listening to an authorized audio version of the Galactic Federation. If this kind of material is interesting to you and you'd like to continue, you're welcome to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also find my other books on Amazon Kindle. Thank you for listening.
Chapter 4: Contact and the Initiation of Consciousness. Introduction: Contact as an Evolutionary Threshold. The notion of contact with the Galactic Federation is often shaped by cinematic depictions and speculative narratives that focus on physical manifestations. Popular culture envisions fleets of starships arriving en masse, extraterrestrial beings making grand entrances, and an abrupt unveiling of humanity's place in the cosmos. These portrayals, while captivating, obscure the deeper reality of how contact truly unfolds. Authentic contact is not an external spectacle imposed upon an unprepared civilization. It is an intimate, progressive process rooted in consciousness itself. The Galactic Federation does not initiate contact through force or overt displays, but rather through an unfolding that is intricately linked to both personal and collective evolution. At its core, contact represents an initiatory threshold, an evolutionary milestone that cannot be crossed by technology or curiosity alone. It requires an inner readiness that transcends intellectual understanding or passive observation. This readiness emerges as individuals, and eventually societies, cultivate the awareness, ethical maturity, and vibrational alignment necessary to engage with intelligences that operate beyond conventional human perception. Contact, then, is not granted arbitrarily, nor is it withheld as punishment. It arises organically when a civilization demonstrates its willingness and capacity to interact as conscious, sovereign participants within the galactic community. Such engagement is not an isolated event, but the culmination of an evolutionary process that involves the dissolution of fear, the expansion of perception, and the awakening of latent faculties. The journey toward contact is interwoven with humanity's broader awakening from the illusion of isolation. As more individuals elevate their consciousness and align with the frequencies that permeate the greater cosmic order, the barriers that have long separated Earth from the wider galactic network begin to dissolve. Contact, in this light, is not something that happens to humanity. It is something that unfolds through humanity, reflecting the profound truth that the readiness for interstellar engagement is first and foremost a matter of inner transformation. The requirements for Federation contact. Meaningful contact with the Galactic Federation is not governed by arbitrary timelines or the technological capabilities of a civilization. Instead, it is determined by specific inner conditions that reflect a species' readiness to engage responsibly with a broader cosmic community. These conditions are neither punitive nor exclusive. They are necessary safeguards that ensure such encounters unfold in a manner that supports growth rather than chaos. At the heart of these requirements is energetic alignment. Every being emits a unique frequency that reflects their state of consciousness. The Federation, operating on frequencies that resonate with unity, cooperation, and higher awareness, can only engage directly with those who have refined their energetic signature to be compatible with these principles. Individuals whose consciousness remains entangled in dense emotional states such as fear, anger, or victimhood inadvertently block or distort their ability to perceive or participate in authentic contact. Closely tied to energetic alignment is psychological readiness. Encountering advanced, multidimensional beings is not simply a matter of witnessing strange phenomena or receiving messages. It requires an expanded awareness capable of processing unfamiliar realities without succumbing to fear or fragmentation. Individuals who have not cultivated inner stability and discernment often find themselves overwhelmed by the subtle yet profound shifts in perception that accompany contact experiences. The human psyche, conditioned by centuries of materialist beliefs and cultural narratives of isolation, can struggle to integrate such encounters unless properly prepared. Without psychological readiness, The mind tends to filter these experiences through fear, confusion, or denial, reducing them to nightmares, delusions, or rejected anomalies. Equally essential is ethical maturity. The Federation is not interested in relationships rooted in fear, control, or manipulation. Civilizations and individuals who continue to operate within paradigms of dominance, secrecy, and exploitation are not invited to participate in the galactic network. Ethical maturity reflects a conscious rejection of these lower patterns in favor of cooperation, transparency, and respect for free will. It is not an abstract ideal but a lived expression of how one interacts with others, oneself, and the greater field of life. Without these foundational qualities, contact becomes distorted or dangerous. Experiences that might otherwise serve as invitations to awakening are filtered through unresolved fear, leading to misinterpretation, rejection, or destabilization. Moreover, those lacking energetic, psychological, and ethical preparation become vulnerable to opportunistic forces that do not operate with the same integrity as the Federation. Groups such as the Orion Syndicate, whose interests lie in manipulation and control, exploit the unprepared. They may present themselves as allies or saviors, but ultimately use deception to maintain lower frequency states that hinder true awakening. Thus, the prerequisites for Federation contact are not barriers of exclusion but essential protections, ensuring that when contact occurs, it does so in a way that fosters genuine growth, clarity, and alignment with the greater galactic community. The veil of forgetting and its impact on contact. The veil of forgetting stands as one of the most significant factors influencing humanity's ability to engage with the Galactic Federation. This veil is not a simple barrier imposed from the outside, but a complex, multi-layered condition woven into the human experience. Its primary function is to suppress conscious awareness of the greater multidimensional reality in which all beings exist. While humanity operates within a narrow band of perception that appears to define the boundaries of reality, vast realms of consciousness, energy, and intelligence remain hidden just beyond ordinary awareness. The veil limits access to these expanded dimensions, making the presence of advanced, Federation-aligned beings virtually imperceptible to most individuals. Beyond concealing multidimensional reality, the veil also restricts access to the innate psionic faculties that are necessary for meaningful contact. These faculties, which include intuitive perception, telepathic receptivity, and energetic sensitivity, are not rare gifts reserved for a chosen few. They are natural aspects of human consciousness that have been dormant for millennia under the conditions of the veil. Without the ability to activate and refine these inner senses, individuals cannot perceive the subtle frequencies upon which the Federation operates. Their presence, while near, remains invisible, and their communications go unheard by those still confined within the limited perceptual range maintained by the veil. Piercing this veil is not a matter of technological advancement or external intervention. It is an inner process, one that marks the first true stage of contact. Meaningful interaction with the Galactic Federation does not begin with visible craft in the skies or public announcements. It begins within, through the diligent work of raising consciousness, mastering personal energy, and cultivating intuitive awareness. Inner work involves a commitment to self-inquiry, the clearing of limiting beliefs, and the alignment of thought, emotion, and intention with higher frequencies. Energy mastery includes practices that harmonize the subtle body, allowing individuals to stabilize their vibrational state and attune to the frequencies where contact becomes possible. Intuitive development requires patience and discipline, fostering the ability to perceive information beyond the conventional senses. Only through this deliberate, conscious process does the veil begin to thin. As individuals awaken to the greater reality, their dormant faculties activate, and their perceptual boundaries expand. What was once hidden becomes accessible. Subtle impressions of presence, symbolic messages, synchronicities, and eventually direct, multidimensional contact emerge. This progression is not a sudden revelation but a carefully paced initiation, ensuring that contact occurs in alignment with each individual's capacity to integrate and understand it. The veil of forgetting, though long a limitation, ultimately serves as a catalyst, guiding humanity toward the inner awakening necessary to engage with the Galactic Federation on a foundation of clarity, responsibility, and expanded awareness. Contact as a staged initiatory process. The process of contact with the Galactic Federation follows a structure that closely mirrors the ancient initiatory paths preserved in mystery traditions throughout human history. This is not a random or purely subjective sequence of experiences, but a carefully designed progression intended to awaken, challenge, and ultimately transform the individual. It is a process that unfolds in stages, each building upon the last, ensuring that the initiate is prepared for the responsibilities and expanded awareness that genuine contact demands. The first stage is one of separation. In this phase, the individual begins to awaken to the limitations of ordinary perception and the constructed nature of their reality. This often arises through subtle disillusionment with societal narratives, a growing curiosity about the unknown, or personal experiences that challenge the boundaries of accepted truth. It marks a departure from unconscious participation in the collective illusions that have kept humanity isolated from its greater cosmic context. Separation is not an abandonment of the world, but a conscious turning inward and a questioning of inherited assumptions. Following this is the ordeal, a necessary stage where the individual must confront the structures within themselves that block higher perception. Fear, conditioned belief systems, rigid ego constructs, and programmed responses rooted in materialist thinking all rise to the surface. This stage can be unsettling, marked by psychological disorientation or energetic upheaval. Yet it serves a vital purpose. The ordeal reveals the inner obstacles that prevent meaningful contact and tests the individual's sincerity and resilience. Without facing and transmuting these limitations, the expansion of awareness required for safe and coherent contact cannot occur. Once these barriers are addressed, the stage of revelation begins. In this phase, direct experiences with the greater reality emerge. These encounters often occur symbolically or through subtle, non-ordinary states of consciousness. Dreams filled with archetypal imagery, heightened intuitive insights, moments of profound synchronicity, or even telepathic impressions become common. The Federation's presence, operating on frequencies beyond ordinary perception, begins to enter the individual's awareness, though rarely in overt, physical forms. These revelations are not designed to shock or overwhelm, but to gently expand the individual's understanding and affirm their connection to the larger cosmic network. The final stage is integration. After the initial revelations and contact experiences, the individual must return to ordinary life, but they do so transformed. The boundaries of perception have been altered, and new faculties of awareness, intuition, and energetic sensitivity are now active. With these come new responsibilities. Integration involves applying the insights and capacities gained through the initiatory process in daily life. It requires living with greater alignment, ethical maturity, and conscious participation in the unfolding planetary awakening. True contact is not an isolated event, but the beginning of an ongoing relationship, one that requires continuous refinement of consciousness and a commitment to contributing positively to both human society and the greater galactic community. Methods of Federation contact. Contact with the Galactic Federation does not conform to the expectations shaped by popular culture. It rarely takes the form of dramatic, overt appearances, but instead unfolds through subtle, multi-layered interactions that align with an individual's level of consciousness and readiness. These methods of contact manifest across different domains, from deeply personal experiences to collective group phenomena and environmental events that signal the presence of higher intelligence operating beyond ordinary perception. On an individual level, contact often begins through dreams, visions, and intuitive downloads. These experiences can occur spontaneously or as a result of conscious inner work that refines awareness and opens perceptual channels. Dreams in particular serve as a common gateway, offering symbolic encounters with beings of light, starships, or otherworldly landscapes that communicate information beyond the limitations of language. Visions may arise during meditation or moments of stillness, presenting imagery or insights that feel charged with significance. Intuitive downloads bypass logical reasoning entirely, appearing as sudden, expansive knowing that carries a clarity and depth that feels undeniably real. These forms of contact are designed to be gentle, allowing the individual to process the encounter in alignment with their psychological and energetic readiness. Energetic encounters are another frequent method of Federation contact. These interactions are often subtle yet profound, marked by heightened states of awareness, physical sensations such as warmth, tingling, or pressure, and altered perceptions of time and space. In such moments, individuals may feel the unmistakable presence of an intelligence that exists just beyond the veil of ordinary reality. These sensations serve as confirmations that contact is occurring at an energetic level, often initiating further awakening of psionic faculties and the refinement of personal vibration necessary for deeper engagement. Telepathic communication also plays a central role in individual contact. The Federation operates on frequencies that do not rely on verbal language, but on the transmission of information through resonance, symbols, and direct knowing. Individuals prepared for this form of interaction may receive impressions that convey complex insights or guidance without the use of words. These communications are often subtle, emerging as a quiet inner knowing or a persistent, clear thought that feels external yet intimately familiar. Such experiences require discernment and grounded integration, but serve as one of the most direct means of personal connection with Federation-aligned beings. Beyond individual experiences, contact often occurs within groups, particularly among those who have cultivated spiritual alignment and shared intentionality. Coordinated group contact amplifies the energetic field, making it easier for the Federation to engage without overwhelming any single participant. In these settings, individuals may experience shared visions, identical symbolic impressions, or simultaneous energetic phenomena, such as a sudden shift in atmosphere, tingling sensations, or waves of emotion that arise collectively. These shared experiences provide powerful confirmation that the interaction is not random or imagined, but part of a larger, coordinated process. Group contact fosters a sense of unity and shared purpose, strengthening both individual and collective readiness for deeper engagement with the galactic community. Environmental contact represents another subtle but impactful method by which the Federation signals its presence and catalyzes awakening. This form of interaction often manifests through anomalous natural phenomena, including unusual patterns in the sky, unexplained lights, sudden weather shifts, or synchronized events that defy coincidence. Individuals or groups engaged in consciousness work may also witness technological disruptions, such as unexplained interference with electronic devices, power fluctuations, or equipment malfunctions that correspond with moments of heightened awareness or direct energetic engagement. These environmental signals are not intended to create fear, but to disrupt ordinary perception and draw attention to the presence of higher intelligence operating within the fabric of reality. Together, these methods of contact create a multidimensional tapestry through which the Galactic Federation engages with those ready to participate in the unfolding process of planetary awakening. Each method, whether personal, collective, or environmental, reflects the Federation's commitment to non-invasive, consciousness-centered interaction that honors free will, personal readiness, and the evolutionary timing of humanity as a whole. Federation contact with institutions and systems. While the Galactic Federation adheres strictly to principles of non-intervention and respect for free will, its influence is not limited to individuals alone. On a broader scale, the Federation engages with human institutions and systems through subtle, Indirect means that support planetary evolution without disrupting the organic unfolding of human development. These interactions are never overt or coercive. Instead, they operate quietly within the fabric of society, often visible only to those with the awareness to perceive the underlying patterns. One of the most common ways the Federation interfaces with human systems is through the indirect guidance of technological and scientific breakthroughs. Throughout history, there have been moments when discoveries or innovations have emerged seemingly ahead of their time, offering humanity tools that accelerate understanding, improve quality of life, or open new frontiers of possibility. While these advances appear to be the product of human genius, many are quietly seeded through inspiration that originates beyond the visible world. Inventors, scientists, and thinkers who align their consciousness with higher frequencies often receive intuitive insights or conceptual downloads that pave the way for advancements in fields such as energy, communication, medicine, or space exploration. These contributions unfold naturally, ensuring that technological progress is available without violating humanity's autonomy or readiness. In addition to inspiring breakthroughs, the Federation may subtly influence governmental or organizational decisions, provided those entities demonstrate a sincere commitment to ethical alignment and a greater good. This influence does not manifest as direct communication or visible intervention. Instead, it emerges through the shaping of circumstances, the appearance of unexpected opportunities, or the quiet reinforcement of individuals within those institutions who carry higher awareness and integrity. Leaders, policymakers, and organizational figures who strive for transparency, peace, and sustainable development may find their efforts supported in ways that defy conventional explanation. Such support is delicate, designed to amplify positive momentum without imposing outcomes or overriding human choice. Another method by which the Federation interacts with systems is through the creation of synchronicities that prevent catastrophic outcomes or support initiatives that align with planetary awakening. These synchronicities often appear as fortuitous events, chance meetings, or last-minute discoveries that avert disaster or enhance beneficial projects. They are rarely dramatic enough to draw public attention, but serve as quiet interventions that guide humanity away from self-destructive paths. In many cases, these patterns are only recognized in hindsight, discernible to those attuned to the subtle movements of energy and timing that shape the evolution of complex systems. All of these interactions share common characteristics. They are quiet, deniable, and woven seamlessly into the existing structures of human society. The Federation understands that open, undeniable contact with institutions would create destabilization and dependency rather than genuine growth. Instead, their presence operates beneath the surface, gently steering humanity toward choices and developments that reflect higher consciousness and ethical maturity. This approach honors the law of free will while offering the support necessary for humanity to navigate its initiatory threshold and prepare for its rightful place within the greater galactic community. The barriers to broader Federation contact. The absence of widespread, open contact with the Galactic Federation is not the result of neglect or indifference on the part of advanced civilizations. Instead, it reflects a complex web of conditions that must be resolved before humanity is capable of engaging responsibly with the greater galactic community. These barriers are not punitive but protective, ensuring that contact unfolds in a way that nurtures stability, conscious evolution, and alignment with universal principles rather than triggering chaos or exploitation. One of the most significant barriers to broader contact is the persistent state of human energetic imbalance. The collective frequency of humanity remains clouded by fear, division, and disempowerment, all of which generate a vibrational environment incompatible with the presence of Federation-aligned beings. Fear constricts awareness and narrows perception, making it difficult for individuals and societies to engage with subtle, multidimensional realities. Division reinforces a sense of separation that undermines the unity consciousness required for interstellar engagement. Disempowerment keeps humanity locked in patterns of victimhood, limiting the development of the inner faculties necessary to perceive and integrate higher contact. Until these energetic imbalances are resolved on a larger scale, the conditions required for open, sustainable contact cannot be established. Active interference by groups aligned with agendas that oppose humanity's awakening presents another formidable barrier. Organizations often associated with the so-called syndicate operate with deliberate intent to sow disinformation, propagate fear, and construct false narratives surrounding the topic of contact. These groups exploit the collective uncertainty and curiosity about extraterrestrial life, weaving stories of abduction, invasion, and manipulation that distort public perception and discourage sincere exploration of the subject. Through these tactics, they not only obscure the reality of authentic Federation contact, but also deepen the fear-based paradigms that keep humanity energetically and psychologically unprepared for meaningful interaction. The immaturity of human institutions further complicates the potential for broader contact. Most governments, corporations, and large organizations continue to function within paradigms rooted in secrecy, competition, exploitation, and control. These structures reflect values that are fundamentally incompatible with the principles of transparency, cooperation, and ethical stewardship upheld by the Federation. Even well-intentioned leaders and organizations often find themselves constrained by outdated systems that prioritize short-term gain over long-term planetary well-being. In such an environment, open contact risks being co-opted, concealed, or weaponized, undermining the purpose of interstellar engagement and delaying humanity's evolution. Finally, there exists the undeniable risk of destabilization. Premature contact, particularly on a global scale, has the potential to fragment society, trigger widespread psychological distress, and catalyze cultural upheaval. Many individuals remain deeply conditioned by materialist worldviews and rigid belief systems that leave little room for the integration of galactic realities. Sudden, undeniable proof of advanced extraterrestrial life would likely shatter these foundations, leading to confusion, fear, and societal fragmentation rather than enlightened progress. The Federation, acutely aware of these risks, exercises restraint, ensuring that contact occurs only when the collective is capable of receiving it without descending into chaos. These barriers, while significant, are not insurmountable. They represent challenges that humanity must consciously address as part of its initiatory journey toward galactic citizenship. As individuals and societies heal their energetic imbalances, reject fear-based narratives, reform outdated institutions, and cultivate the psychological and cultural resilience necessary for contact, these obstacles will gradually dissolve. The Federation awaits this unfolding with patience, offering guidance and subtle support to those prepared to engage, while honoring the evolutionary process that must precede humanity's full emergence into the galactic community. False contact and opportunistic manipulation. As humanity approaches the threshold of awakening and begins to sense the presence of a greater galactic reality, it becomes increasingly vulnerable to opportunistic forces that seek to exploit this growing curiosity. Not all forms of contact or messages presented as extraterrestrial in origin are aligned with the Galactic Federation. In fact, many of these encounters and communications are intentionally engineered by groups whose interests run counter to humanity's evolution towards sovereignty and conscious participation in the cosmic community. The Orion Syndicate and other factions operating beyond the Federation's ethical framework have long understood the psychological and energetic landscape of emerging civilizations. They are adept at simulating contact in ways that appear convincing, but ultimately serve to entrench fear, confusion, and disempowerment. False contact experiences often carry distinct warning signs for those who are willing to look beyond surface appearances. One of the most common indicators is the presence of fear-based messaging. Communications that focus on threats, catastrophe, or humanity's inherent weakness are designed to lower vibrational states and suppress the inner faculties necessary for authentic contact. These messages may be accompanied by visions, dreams, or even seemingly physical encounters that leave individuals feeling anxious, diminished, or overwhelmed rather than expanded or empowered. Another common tactic involves promises of savior intervention. Opportunistic groups understand that many individuals, disillusioned by the failures of human institutions, yearn for a force that will rescue humanity from its current crises. Messages that promise external salvation, technological miracles, or immediate solutions without corresponding inner growth are rarely genuine. They encourage passivity and dependency, undermining the evolutionary process that requires humanity to reclaim its power, awaken its latent faculties, and participate actively in shaping its destiny. Subtle encouragement of division, conflict, or disempowerment is another hallmark of false contact. These manipulative forces may masquerade as benevolent guides while subtly promoting narratives that separate individuals from one another, elevate certain groups as chosen, or foster suspicion and rivalry. They may exploit spiritual language or symbols, blending elements of truth with distortion to create confusion and erode discernment. In this complex landscape, discernment becomes an essential skill. True contact with the Galactic Federation, though often subtle, consistently leaves individuals feeling empowered, expanded, and aligned with higher principles of unity, ethical responsibility, and self-awareness. It does not foster dependency or promote narratives of fear and division. Instead, it strengthens the individual's ability to perceive beyond the simulation's limitations, cultivating the inner stability required for meaningful engagement with the broader galactic community. False contact, in contrast, reinforces the very structures of control and limitation that have kept humanity isolated and disempowered for millennia. It exploits the cracks in the veil of forgetting not to liberate, but to deceive. Only through cultivating inner alignment, refining intuition, and applying rigorous discernment can individuals navigate this terrain and distinguish between genuine initiatory contact and manipulative simulations designed to divert humanity from its rightful path of awakening and interstellar participation. Toward collective contact, a planetary rite of passage. Humanity stands at the edge of a profound evolutionary threshold, one that extends beyond the personal journey of awakening to encompass the destiny of the entire species. As increasing numbers of individuals activate their latent faculties, raise their consciousness, and align with higher principles, the energetic conditions necessary for safe and meaningful planetary scale contact with the Galactic Federation gradually come into place. This process does not unfold through force or external imposition. It emerges as a natural consequence of humanity's collective growth and the choices made by individuals, communities, and institutions in response to the invitation of awakening. Collective contact with the Galactic Federation is not an event that will be declared by governments or orchestrated through public spectacle. It is a rite of passage for the planet itself, initiated only when humanity demonstrates its readiness across several essential dimensions. Sovereignty is the first of these. Humanity must stand as a conscious, self-directed species capable of making its own choices without manipulation by external forces or internal structures of control. This sovereignty is not rooted in political declarations, but in the reclamation of inner authority and the ability to discern truth from distortion. Ethical maturity is equally critical. The Federation operates within a framework of principles that emphasize unity, non-intervention, and respect for all forms of life. For humanity to engage at the level of a galactic community, it must move beyond paradigms rooted in fear, exploitation, and competition. Ethical maturity is reflected not only in policies and global agreements, but in the everyday choices of individuals who cultivate compassion, integrity, and accountability in their actions. Technological responsibility forms the final pillar of readiness. Advanced tools and capabilities hold immense potential for both creation and destruction. History has demonstrated the dangers of technological advancement outpacing spiritual and ethical development. The Federation requires that emerging civilizations show the capacity to wield their technologies in alignment with higher consciousness, ensuring that power serves as a tool for stewardship rather than domination. The early signs of this planetary rite of passage are already appearing. Shared contact experiences are becoming increasingly common, with groups of individuals reporting simultaneous dreams, visions, or energetic encounters that reflect a coordinated, intelligent presence. These shared experiences transcend cultural and geographic boundaries, indicating that contact is not isolated to a privileged few, but is unfolding as a global phenomenon for those prepared to engage. Coordinated intuitive guidance is another marker of this emerging contact. Across diverse communities, individuals are receiving parallel insights, symbolic messages, and inner directives that converge around themes of unity, preparation, and conscious participation. These communications, often subtle and nonverbal, reveal an underlying intelligence guiding humanity through the complex terrain of awakening and planetary transformation. In addition to these internal experiences, unexplained global phenomena are reflecting the subtle but undeniable presence of the Federation. Anomalous patterns in weather, mysterious aerial phenomena, and disruptions in technological systems are occurring with greater frequency, often in ways that coincide with surges in consciousness movements, collective meditations, or significant energetic alignments on the planet. These events serve as quiet confirmations of a greater presence watching, guiding, and waiting for humanity to claim its place as a conscious participant in the living cosmos. The path toward collective contact is not a distant fantasy, but a lived process, unfolding now as humanity navigates its rite of passage into the galactic community. The invitation is clear, but the timing and nature of contact will remain in humanity's hands, shaped by the collective choices, alignments, and awakenings that determine whether the planet is ready to step fully into its cosmic inheritance. Conclusion: contact as conscious choice. The unfolding of contact with the Galactic Federation is not a sudden, isolated event, nor is it an external intervention imposed upon an unprepared world. It is a staged, initiatory process that reflects the natural evolution of consciousness, both individually and collectively. This process is designed to ensure that humanity steps into interstellar engagement not as passive recipients of advanced knowledge, but as conscious, sovereign participants capable of navigating the complexities of the greater galactic reality. Humanity's progress toward integration with the Federation is not granted by decree or hastened by technological milestones alone. It is earned through awakening, through the gradual and deliberate remembrance of who and what we are beyond the limitations imposed by cultural programming, energetic distortion, and the veil of forgetting. This awakening is deeply personal, yet profoundly collective, as the rising frequency of individuals contributes to the energetic foundation upon which meaningful contact can occur. Maintaining this progress requires the active cultivation of sovereignty. True sovereignty is not about political autonomy or material dominance, but about the reclamation of inner authority. It is the capacity to discern truth from deception, to resist manipulation in all its forms, and to engage with life from a place of conscious alignment. Only through this sovereignty can humanity ensure that its evolution is guided by integrity rather than exploitation. The path forward is accelerated by humanity's willingness to reject manipulation and embrace remembrance. False contact, fear-based narratives, and the subtle encouragement of division serve only to entrench the simulation's limitations and delay integration into the galactic community. By recognizing these distortions and choosing to align with truth, unity, and inner awakening, individuals and societies create the conditions for authentic contact to unfold with increasing clarity and frequency. The coming chapters will delve deeper into the hidden opposition that works to obstruct this process. These forces, both seen and unseen, have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo of separation and disempowerment. Yet alongside this exploration, we will also uncover the tools available to humanity to navigate this terrain. From practices that refine perception and cultivate resilience to frameworks that illuminate the path beyond manipulation. These resources empower those who are ready to participate in the next stage of humanity's initiatory journey toward conscious, responsible, and enduring contact with the greater galactic family.
This concludes this section of the Galactic Federation. The next section will be available here on my channel. If you'd like to support this work, please like the video and subscribe for future releases. Also, my other books are available on Amazon Kindle. Thank you for listening.